Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Yakima OverHaul HD adjustable truck bed ladder rack on our 2024 Chevy Colorado. Now whether it's for work or for play, a truck bed ladder rack like the OverHaul HD is an excellent way to carry those items that are just too long or too bulky for your truck bed. So things like ladders and boards, for work, or things like kayaks or a rooftop tent for play. The great thing about the OverHaul HD is that these are height adjustable. We can go all the way down to 19 inches above our bed rails, all the way up to 30 inches above our bed rails. Now, while the rack is adjustable height-wise, and we do have it raised all the way up, and we did that for a reason. The Colorado has this kind of long antenna back here, and if you've got anything that's going to be hanging over the cab, getting it up to its maximum height is going to help you clear that antenna. But it's also adjustable in that we can kind of work with our bed rails in order to understand where these can be placed. We've got this set up so that they're as far forward as we can get it and far back as we can get it, giving us a maximum crossbar spread. So that maximum spread, if I'm going from middle of one bar to the middle of the next, is going to come out to about 36.5 inches, and that's a pretty decent spread, especially if you got some longer things up here. But always check your rooftop accessories and see what the minimum and maximum spread is if you wanted to be able to use it on your overhaul. The other thing we're going to take a look at is our overhang. So at its maximum height, this would also give us our maximum overhang. We're going to end up with an overhang of 13 inches, and these are 68-inch bars. So as we actually lower our towers, if we wanted to set these lower, the portion that attaches to the bar is going to be moved more inward and give us more of a crossbar overhang. And this tower placement is going to put us 12 inches away from our cab, and it's going to put us 10.5 inches away from the end of our tailgate there. Now while we're talking about our crossbars, these are going to be good with your clamp mount accessories. It's also going to be good for your T-track accessories. There is a weather stripping at the top covering that T-slot to help keep the noise and vibration down. And they're going to offer tie-down points at the end of each bar. Now our weight capacity on it is going to be 500 pounds or 300 pounds if you're off-road. Now on our towers here, the towers again are adjustable. You've got a height measurement right here so you can make sure that everything is even on both sides. It's also going to offer tie-down points here on the inside of our towers, and it also features a lock on each set of towers so that we can keep it secure and keep thieves out of it. Now from here you can see if we got these down to their lowest height, they'd be right at about cab height, but you're going to maintain full visibility out of your rear window. There is a possibility that the bar could cover up this light from other drivers. But generally speaking, I think the visibility is going to be fantastic whether you have these all the way up or all the way down. Now, installation of this setup is really, really easy actually. So follow along and I'll show you exactly how we got these on our Colorado. So installation is going to start with our tower bases like we have right here. And all we're going to end up doing is setting those on the rail kind of roughly where we want them. Now, we're also going to be using these J-clamps, which are going to fit underneath the rail like this. So it's a good idea to kind of feel around under here, see if there's any obstacles. There are kind of a couple of things right in this area here that we're not going to be able to put our clamps. So get a good idea of where you've got some clearance under there. We're going to go ahead and set our base up there. And then we're going to take these bolts here along with these spacer blocks, and we're going to kind of just drop those in to our two slots. Then I'm going to grab our J-clamp, and I'm going to kind of feel around under here for it. And what I want to try to do is to get this set up kind of as far back as I can. Basically, I have an end spot right here. I could fit it into about right here. It's this front one that I'm a little worried about fitting in. So I'm going to put it kind of toward the front of it there. because again, there are two of them here, and I don't want to have to put it so far back that it goes over our stake pocket and we can't use our second clamp. So I've got a good spot for it here, and I'm just going to kind of sort of loosely thread this in. And with the first one pretty much set, and we got it kind of where we like it, I'm going to go ahead and kind of loosely thread in this one here too. And I'm going to move it back pretty much as far as it'll allow me to go. Now, we need our tower bases and our towers basically to be exactly across from one another. So you can do that kind of using under here and kind of the obstacles, how far back you can do it, or just use a tape measure to go from the end of your tower base along your rail and make sure it's even on both sides of the vehicle. So once we've checked and made sure that everything is right where we want it, we're going to take this large Allen tool and I'm going to tighten these up. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm kind of bracing this up against our rail to make sure it stays flush. And I'm also at the same time kind of holding up on this bracket. I want to make sure it stays straight and doesn't get twisted as it's going up. So I want as much clean contact under there as I can. So once we have this on there, good and solid, everything looks straight, we're going to go ahead and grab our tower. Now, the important thing to remember about the towers, because these can be very side specific. One, you want to make sure that the angle of it is leaning in towards the middle of the truck bed. And two, this kind of large piece here with the support beam needs to be facing the other bar. So if you notice, on our front bar here, we've got that facing toward our back bar. On our back bar, we're going to have it facing toward the front. So we're just going to slip this into place, just like so. And then I'm going to close this shut. I'm going to hand tighten a little bit to keep it in place before I grab my security tool and get it tightened down completely. So the next thing we're going to do is prepare our bar. So we're going to go ahead and take it and turn it over. And under here we're going to see this little screw right here. In order to remove our end cap, we have to take that screw out. So with that screw removed, we can take off our end cap, and we're going to take two of these blocks and we're going to slide them right through that T-slot there. And once those are in, we can replace our end cap. And while I have this off, by the way, that is how you would get access to your T-slot here. If you wanted to use the T-slot on your crossbars, you'd have to remove that end cap. And before I put the crossbar up, I just wanted to show you on the underside of your bar, you're going to see all these hashes and numbers. We're going to be using those to make sure that our bar overhang is even and we have a good crossbar setup. All right, so with our bar prepped, we're going to go ahead and bring it up and just lay it down here. Kind of fit it into our crossbar there. Now from the underneath, I'm going to use those numbers to match on either side of this. That way I know that my overhang is even and I've got a perfect crossbar setup. So now I'm going to take these security bolts that work with this tool right here. And first I'm going to do with a flat washer. The flat washer goes through this bolt hole here that's more toward the inside of the bar. We'll be using a lock washer on the bolts that go in here. And what I'm going to need to do is those little plates that we slid in here, I'm going to slide it over and get the bolt holes matched up. And once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and thread my first one through. Now, Yakima has provided some extra security for this. There is a key and lock to put on your towers so that, it can prevent theft. Now, there is a difference in our bases. So one of the bases is going to have basically this part here. The other ones are going to have kind of a wider part like this. Now, the lock core goes onto this piece. So when you're setting these up, it is possible that you put one of the lock core bases on each side and on the same bar. That doesn't do you really any good because it leaves your other crossbar unprotected. So just make sure your front bar and your back bar each have one of these bases that'll accept the lock core. And to put this on is really, really simple. We're just going to slip it right over that, lock it up, and now it's on there and nobody will be able to get access to your towers. And that's really it for our installation. It's a pretty easy setup. Doesn't really require any tools other than the ones that Yakima provides for you already. Now, if you decide after watching this video that this is going to be the ladder rack for you and your Colorado, and you decide to get it and install it, and you've used it a few times, please share with us how you're using it, what your setup looks like, if you have any questions or any experiences that you've had with it in the comments below. We would love to share that with our other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. Once again, this is Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.